The incursion of Al-Shabaab into Kenya in radicalizing, recruiting, and arming them back to come and kill innocent citizens of our country is one of the reasons that impacted on the national security of our country and made us to go to Somalia. And secondly, with our troop contributing countries that I've mentioned, we are forced to participate in the peace and security and stability of Somalia and the greater Horn of Africa. So, Madam Speaker, the Kenyan troops serving under ATMIS are in two sectors. They're in Sector 2 and they're in Sector 6. And Sector 2, Madam Speaker, with the operational base in a place called Duale in Lower Juba, our troops have taken deliberately that sector because that is a sector that borders the Republic of Kenya. And that is a sector that we created both inside and outside a buffer zone to make sure that there are no elements of terror and its affiliates that can cross to our country. And that's why, Madam Speaker, today we have a serious deployment in the Boni Enclave, in the Lamu area, because we want to protect our country and we want to protect the citizens and the economy. For us to achieve sustainable economic growth, security must be fixed, Madam Speaker. Number two, Madam Speaker, our efforts in Somalia has fostered regional stability. A more stable and secure Somalia is critical for peace and for development in the East Africa region, the Horn of Africa, and beyond. Madam Speaker, if you look at from 2012, when AMISOM and ATMIS have taken over, today there's serious and critical semblance of a stable government in Somalia. Today we're seeing the Somali government have established and generated enough force. And today you see the president of Somalia at the forefront with the Somali National Forces combating terror. 5 years, 10 years ago, that was not the case. And I'm sure with AMISOM, with ATMIS, with our international partners, and with us securing our border, I think the days for Al-Shabaab in Somalia and in our region is coming to an end. I want to assure this House, I want to commit myself and do that assurance to this House. Madam Speaker, involvement in the Somali peace efforts have facilitated the delivery of humanitarian aid, hence alleviating the plight of thousands of Somalis, enabled many refugees and internally displaced people to return to their homes. Above all, there have been progress in the restoration of state institutions in Somalia. Madam Speaker, key UN agencies use our ports and they supply humanitarian assistance to Somalia. And one of the achievements of ATMIS and also Kenya Defense Forces was to open up the main supply routes, was to make sure that civilians, affected civilians within the Somali nation access the UN and the humanitarian assistance free of disruption by the terror group. On the diplomatic front, Madam Speaker, our participation has strengthened, has created a very strong diplomatic ties with our colleagues, the troop contributing countries, and Somalia and all the other international partners for the first time. When the history of our country and that of KDF contribution in the stabilization of the region and more so in Somalia is written, then it will be very visible and invisible outcomes that bring the light, the really value of the sacrifices made by Kenyans in pursuit of regional peace and security. And Madam Speaker, I am sure the committee of this House and even this House, in their oversight role of Kenyan Defense Forces, when they visit our camps, they will have an opportunity to see plaques, memorial parks with the names of those who lost their life in the line of duty, the honor they are given, not only in the mission in Somalia, but in other missions since KDF was formed. So that is the preserve of our bases is a preserve of what the KDF Act and what the National Security Act within our Constitution subscribes. So in a nutshell, Madam Speaker, KDF and Kenyans have over the years suffered casualties, including loss of life, both before and after KDF integration into the African Union mission in Somalia, now the African Union Transmission Mission in Somalia, ATMIS. While the exact number of injuries and fatalities cannot be publicly disclosed due to security consideration, we assure the House that every incident is properly documented and families promptly informed. So the decision for Kenyan troops to exit from Somalia depends on several factors, including the progress of ATMIS mandate and the prevailing security and political conditions in Somalia. Our commitment, Madam Speaker, has always been towards the realization of peace, stability, and sustainable development in Somalia and in the whole region for the benefit of Kenya and the region. Madam Speaker, the ATMIS mandate is guided by African Union because I said Kenya Defense Forces, they serve under ATMIS. So this mandate is guided by two arms, the African Union and the United Nations Security Council resolutions, focusing with the primary objective of reducing the threat posed by Al-Shabaab and other armed groups, enabling the handing over of security responsibilities to the Somali security forces, and assisting them in creating a secure environment for the political process in Somalia at all levels to make meaningful achievement. But in the meantime, Madam Speaker, I want to report that under the guidance of the United Nations Security Council, currently there is an ongoing ATMIS drawdown strategy, which aims to gradually transfer security responsibilities to the Somali security forces under what is known as the Somalia Transition Plan. Kenya, alongside our other contributing partners and international colleagues, is actively, Madam Speaker, engaged in Somali security forces capacity building to ensure that there is a smooth transition. So already there is a phase out or a drawdown of troops beginning April last year, and that drawdown will end in December of 2024. The last troops are supposed to leave Somalia in 2024 as per the African Union and United Nations Security Council resolution and plan.